So what is up, guys? It's Nate from the Sprite Lovers here. Kind of a mini update to start things off. We've been teasing with each video that comes out that we are going to have a regular video soon. Basically, I'm actually out of town right now for work, and I've been working on some stuff unrelated to Sprite Lovers that's been taking up a lot of time for my friend and I do a little independent film work. So we filmed a ballet, and we're doing a commercial for their next ballet, and we're being hired to do this stuff. So that's been taking up a lot of my free time. And then when I have free time, I've been playing some games, which is why I figured I'd at least live stream the playthrough of Life is Strange that Megan got me as a gift. So that's kind of a brief little update, but there will be regular videos again soon once our schedule mellows out a little more. And Megan's got a couple really cool videos coming up, actually. So I'm actually doing this from my work laptop that I have at my the hotel I'm in right now for work, so I apologize about the glare on my glasses and stuff. But I wanted to do a video while it's fresh on my mind about Life is Strange in general. Speaking of, since I just mentioned it, I have mixed feelings about the ending. Well, first of all, let me talk about the game in general. I thought it was awesome. If you watched any of the playthrough, I love adventure games. I love old point-and-click adventure games, and I really love how they've evolved over the years. I like Telltale games, even though they're performance-wise usually kind of chuggy and stuff. I still like the illusion of choice, even if it's not a super huge choice. But they're always enjoyable games. I like the Walking Dead game. I even like the Back to the Future game. Didn't really like what I played of the Jurassic Park game, but I think that's the consensus with that one. And there's more that I still want to play. Wolf Among Us and Tales of the Borderlands and even Minecraft Story Mode I want to play. So there's more adventure games I like. But I've loved point-and-click adventures. I mean, I love Monkey Island. I just downloaded Grim Fandango on PS4 because it was a PlayStation Plus game. Looking forward to playing that. Anyway, love the genre. And another genre I like, which is kind of an evolution of the adventure game, is, I guess they'd call it like an exploratory point-and-click, well, not point-and-click adventure, cinematic adventure game, I guess. And I would classify that as anything from Heavy Rain and Indigo Prophecy, Beyond Two Souls, and now categorize Life is Strange like that. And it's, and Until Dawn that came out this year is kind of similar to that too. It's kind of like, a lot of exploration, looking at things, observing things in the environment. Sometimes you pick up items and just look at them, or the character will narrate them. I really love that type of game. And I think the ultimate version of that is the opening of the game Indigo Prophecy, or Fahrenheit in the UK. It's basically, it's a diner scene, and the number of things you can interact with and the number of ways you can fail that stage or get through it but have different things left as evidence and stuff in this opening scene is the pinnacle of this type of gameplay that I think. But the rest of the game kind of fell flat. Basically, as it went on, it got worse. But I still like the game Indigo Prophecy overall, and I like Heavy Rain, even though I think the writing is kind of shoddy. It still was a great experience to play through. Haven't played Beyond Two Souls myself, but Megan played through it and really liked it. And like I mentioned earlier, the Telltale type adventure games kind of have some of the same similarities, and I like that. But Life is Strange is my favorite full game that follows that adventure format. Like I said, exploratory adventure. It's one of my favorite genres, and I hope to see more games use this, because a lot of times these games don't have any combat, which I'm kind of sick of combat. I play Halo online like almost every day, so I definitely love still games that have shooting or jumping on enemies or hitting them, beat 'em ups and everything. So violence is kind of hand in hand with games, but it's just refreshing to play a game where you don't have to do those things. And that's what I like about adventure games. Sometimes it's just observing the environment and meeting people, and that's something I really like about visual novels, is that it's about meeting a cast of characters and growing close with them and making friends and enemies. And these adventure games sometimes cross over to that. And I would love to see like the Phoenix Wright series take this kind of a step in this direction, where when you do the investigations, you can walk around and explore like a game like Life is Strange. So anyway, I'm going on a tangent about the genre, but Life is Strange is my favorite game yet that is of this category, whether you call it just an adventure game or any of the other ways you could stretch the genre name. So I really like how the choices really make differences throughout the story, and even though it ends on a binary choice, there's just so much in between, and it's really cool to see like little things change, big things change, and I definitely want to replay it now because it has all those different variations. So, what I want to really focus on, anybody who's watched the stream, at this point on, it's going to be full spoiler. So if you want to save Life is Strange to be a pure experience for yourself, don't listen past this. And actually, you should, because Life is Strange is awesome and it has some of the best plot twists in a game that actually really worked. I didn't see a couple of them coming, or some of them, they're the good kind of plot twists where you're like, I should have seen that coming, or of course that's the plot twist, but wow, you know. But I wrote some thoughts down earlier, and I kind of want to go over those now and kind of share what I feel. So, at the end of the game, you have one of two choices. One is to sacrifice your best friend in order to undo all the destruction that's about to happen, because it's kind of like, you know, you've changed the timeline of reality, so now things are going crazy, and you could always go back and let her die to undo it all. Or you could say, screw it, and you love her, she's my friend, and maybe more, depending on how you play the game, and you can choose to not go back and sacrifice her. So I feel a little disappointed with the ending, and it's not because of any of the endings that are available in the game. I think the other ending that I didn't choose after I watched it on YouTube, and maybe if you want to watch that before this, or if you've already played the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. I definitely think that the save Chloe is the worst ending, and it's not a matter of, oh, one's a good ending, one's a bad ending. It's like one is a complete finished ending with full thought out and fleshed out conclusion, and the other one just feels like and you know, before getting into even the details, I feel like the ending I chose felt barren and unsatisfying. There was just no weight to the awful decision. I consciously made every decision in this game. Even when I went back and saw the options, I was like, no, you know what, I'm going to go with this one because I'm committing to it. And there's so many changes throughout the game. There's never like a good and a bad in every scenario. It's like it could be good in some ways, but it'll affect these couple things. And it might be good this way, but it'll affect these things. So you know, the decisions all felt great, and I played it pretty safe the whole time through. I was like, I think this is the right choice to make in this scenario, and you know, at the end of each chapter, it tells you the percentages of what people picked, and I was usually matched up with the majority. But at the end, I felt that the game was really pushing for the other ending, and so I thought, like, you know, what is this game going to do to subvert that whole direction it's leading me in? And it didn't. It doesn't. It didn't challenge anything about it. It just is basically like, you picked this ending, here you go, and it just ends. So going into a little more detail, so you know, I feel like I wish, first of all, I wish that I picked that other ending, because my memory of playing the game through and ending it would have been like, wow, this is a great game with a great ending. But so it's not like I feel like, oh, it wrapped up the story bad in the ending I chose. It's just that it was presented so much better in the other one. It felt like a full ending. So even if I didn't agree with the choice, it felt like more complete. So why didn't I choose to sacrifice Chloe? I mean, if you've been watching through the game, like I said, I played it pretty safe. And I really liked Chloe. I really grew to like her by the end of the game, especially. And I think she grew as a character, but I didn't love her. I'm not like, oh, she's my bae. They're seeing a lot of things. It's bae, the word B-A-E, versus bae, like Arcadia Bay, which is the name of the town. And people are like, bae over bae, you know. I'm not like that into Chloe that I'm like, oh, I should have, or I'm always going to pick her because she's the best. I just felt that the game was so heavy-handed in pushing the idea of, you know, bad things happening if you don't go back and undo this, that I was like, let me see. I want to see, like, what I feel like. No, it just doesn't feel right. I was wrong. So for one, I feel that cheating death is kind of a cliched concept. You know, you have movies like The Butterfly Effect, and you have Final Destination movies, and if you've watched the show Lost, Charlie's plot line ended up with him constantly being saved from death by one of the characters, Desmond, who could see the future temporarily. And so I feel like it's just been done so much, the, you know, cheating death kind of thing. So I felt that was kind of playing it safe. That was a super safe ending. And it was not just safe because, like I said, I've been playing it safe the whole game, but I wanted to challenge that cliche and see, okay, all the stuff that's happened so far happened. I want to challenge this. Oh, you can't cheat death thing, and it ended up just being like every other thing. And it's like, okay, I guess you can't cheat death. And so by having an incomplete ending to it, kind of made it feel worse. Now, all the experiences with the character Chloe, even if you sacrifice her at the end, still would have mattered to Max because she experienced the week that the game took place in. And, even though nobody else would have remembered it if you go back in time and, let her die, I still think, your character had growth by experiencing that and realizing the importance of the decision. And that's why, even though it's a little more cliched, I still think that, like, the game, now that I know the game really wanted that ending to be the real ending, I feel like it was so much more developed and everything. But I kind of feel like that ending would be more satisfying if I had experienced that first. But I really was curious to see how they could subvert that cliche. But really they didn't. It was just, okay, you picked the town over it. And it's kind of like, I guess I want to compare it to, and here's spoilers for this game, the game Last of Us. That game ends with a bittersweet decision too. Except you don't choose it. It happens in the game. In that game, you have to choose to either let Ellie, your partner throughout the whole game, and basically child figure to you throughout the whole game since you lost your daughter in the beginning and you grew close with her character. They say they could probably get a cure for the disease that's been killing everybody if she dies. But he's lost so much so far in the story, and he lost his daughter, and he lost it to this world that they're trying to save. And the whole reason he lost it wasn't from the zombies, or the fungus zombies, or whatever they are. That's not what killed his daughter. His daughter was killed by a soldier who was given orders to kill them before they even had a chance to explain. So, that was in the very beginning of the game. So, not knowing for sure that the cure would have even came from letting your child die, I completely felt, even though it felt wrong because it could be the cure, you're letting all those people down, it just made so much sense for that game. And afterwards, there's a nice exchange between the characters where, you keep pondering on what they were really thinking in the end scene, because, Ellie basically straight up asks him, did you, or I can't remember, maybe it's not so straight up because I can't remember the exact, but something along the lines of, like, did you kill them, or was it true that they couldn't find a cure or whatever? And Joel's basically like, yeah, there was no cure. That's what happened. He lied to her. And she basically just looks like, kind of like, okay. And it ends shortly after that. So it was very hard to tell what they meant by that, but there was so much you could read from it. It was a great ambiguous ending, because you're like, wow, I made this choice. My character made this choice. Do I agree with them? Do I disagree with them? And the way they reacted with each other, you're like, are they going to be continuing this relationship, or is she going to, hold this against them someday, and the truth's going to come out? So much to that ending, the weight of it. And in Life is Strange, they just kind of look at each other after making this big decision. There's no final thoughts, no expressions even, other than a smile and her putting her hand on your character's shoulder. That's pretty much all it was. So it was just, and I know I actually read the developer said something like they wanted to do more with the other ending and they ran out of either budget or time. But either way, I guess it's a personal disappointment that I picked that other ending first, and that was my first experience of the ending. Doesn't sour the whole experience of the game, because I absolutely love the game, but it just really set me off. And then there's another part of this whole why I didn't just go, okay, I'm going to sacrifice my best friend to save everybody. I feel like it makes me have a hard time reconciling all the other stuff I did in the game. Like I mentioned earlier, it still happened to my character, so even if everybody else forgets about it, it still happened to my character, so it's not like it was all for nothing. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that in the game, and here's more spoilers for the whole game, I talked the character Kate out of committing suicide, which a lot of people didn't. I saw there was a lot of people online who couldn't save her. So that was a huge thing, and it changed things that happened throughout the rest of the game. I uncovered the truth about the missing girl, Rachel. I uncovered the truth about who we thought was the main villain, Nathan, but ended up being your teacher, or your teacher slash artist who's in the school you went to, Jefferson. And I feel like, those were things that I really played a part in. And I made peace with Victoria, the girl bully of the game. We kind of had a couple really good moments together. And Max really became a superhero, which was kind of a running theme throughout that, but not Super Max like her absolute crush, or not her crush, but crushing on her. Warren would always say, "You're Super Max," and even Chloe said, "You're Super Max," and they were talking about like powers and stuff like that a lot of times. But I think the way she treated people during the adventure, that's what shaped her as Super Max. She really through all these experiences that happened because of the butterfly effect of keeping Chloe alive, it allowed you a chance to change things, find out truths, help things overall. And seeing that none of that even mattered if Chloe died in the bathroom made me just feel a little empty. It when you see the other ending, if you haven't watched it yet, definitely check out the Sacrifice Chloe ending. It shows the motif that it does throughout the game of pictures burning away and then being replaced by the changes to the timeline, and it worked great throughout the whole game. But at the end, it shows Nathan would have been caught anyway from shooting the gun in the bathroom at the beginning of the game when he killed Chloe, and because he was caught, he would have ratted out Jefferson, who was the real main bad guy. So Jefferson would have gotten captured anyway, and the people would have then found out the truth about what happened with Kate, and she wouldn't have been driven to suicide because she didn't get people understood the truth of what happened when it came out. And so it just kind of made all of those choices and things that I really enjoyed about the game less important. It's not that they didn't even happen at this point and they couldn't happen again in the future. It undid them all. It made them worthless. And basically one of the things I wrote down earlier was that I feel like it's not nothing mattered that I did. It's just that Max experienced these things, but it's kind of lame that if in the beginning of the game your character was like, "I have a cold today, I'm going to stay in my dorm room," Nathan would have shot Chloe, got caught, and all that would have unraveled with zero agency from you. And it just it sucks away. Not even it didn't matter. It takes away anything about it. I couldn't really take anything away with that decision. That's why I didn't pick it. I felt like, it's not why I didn't pick it, because I didn't know some of those things would have turned out that way. But now that I see that, when I would have been more satisfied with this ending, but I still would have been like, oh man, the reasons why I was so happy with just fighting the curse of fate. I was like, no, I'm going to fight this. Maybe we can overcome the storm. Maybe I have the power to stop the storm or something. No, none of that. It was still the cliched don't cheat death. And there's still things in the town that, the town's not the best place. Not that it's not like it deserves everybody to die, but Nathan Prescott's father, Sean Prescott, and their whole family, they have ties through everything in the town. That's one of the things you learn, one of the subplots. And even if Jefferson and Nathan is taken down, the town's still going to be... Nathan, who knows? They could have gotten him out of jail after the fact or whatever. And I feel like there's so much more that you can go, oh, but then there's this and this and this and this. Not plot holes, not even unresolved plot lines. It's just things that were vital to the journey of, whether it's the journey of realizing you have to sacrifice your friend or make that choice, or whether it was the journey to grow as a character through these things, that is all undone. And even though she remembers it all in the Sacrifice Chloe ending, I just really didn't like thinking that all that stuff would happen anyway. So all those great moments through the game, they were just, I happened to be a part of them, but there was a already better, cleaner, neater solution to all that, So, well, yeah, basically, like I said earlier, it's if she could have had a cold and stayed in all day, the ending would have been the same as sacrificing Chloe. And when you start the game, she has the vision of the tornado coming in and destroying town. And that was before she even altered time. So she saw a vision of this, cheating death before she even cheated Chloe's death. She saw it first. This came on her. It wasn't something she asked for. She just got it. And so that's why I kind of wanted to try to overcome that, the curse, no, I'm going to fight it. And it's not what they wanted. So, and that's fine. But, and then when you're in the bathroom in the beginning of the game, in that pivotal moment where you first rewind time and save Chloe from getting killed, she didn't even know it was her friend Chloe at the time, because Chloe, she hadn't seen her in like 5 years. So I just feel like it's not like she was like, my friend's getting shot. Oh, I had the power to stop it. It was just a stranger. It could have been anyone else. But it happened to be this life-changing or life-destroying event. So, just kind of, those little things just kind of were little things that put me off a little bit to the decision and why I was not just going with the cliche route. But the main thing about why I didn't choose that was because that is such a cliche. And I kind of was like, this game did so many cool, creative things, and then it just kind of ends with a, you should pick the more cliched ending. And so I just didn't like that. But, so, you know, basically, even though it was very telegraphed and cliche to end it that way, I probably would have experienced, if I experienced that ending first, it would have been like, wow, what a great game. I had a couple, you know, issues with it, but wow. And instead I was like, what a great game. What a bad ending. Let me look up the other ending. Oh, that's really better. And so it just kind of, you know, but, you know, that's it. You live with your choice. And that's what I wanted to do, is make the choice. I just think that they definitely suffer for not having developed. If it was time or budget that they couldn't develop that ending, it definitely suffered. Because it could have been a pretty emotional ending the other way with, you know, you made this choice and I'll live with it. I don't even feel bad that I made the choice because they didn't even make it, the stakes seem high. I was just like, we're going to drive off in the sunset with our car that's still together, even though the town got torn up. This one car didn't get torn up. So anyway, you know, I feel like the flaws I found with the ending I chose wouldn't have stuck out as much if I had seen the other one first. I'd have been like, okay, I'm glad I made that choice. I'm totally disappointed that I made the choice I made, but it's really the only choice I regretted. Everything else, I loved accepting the consequences of my choices throughout the game. So I feel like that was definitely a souring experience on the overall game, but it's still an amazing game. I can't wait to play through it again. I want to get all the collectibles that I missed because there's a lot of photographs you can find throughout the game. And if you guys liked any of the footage you saw and didn't spoil yourself, play that game. It's such a good game. Even though I don't know why I'm saying that right now because you just heard me talk about the most spoilerific stuff about the game. Excuse me. Still is a great game though. So even if you are spoiled and watch through a lot of this, you still should play it because it's a fun game to experience on your own. If anybody has finished the game themselves, let me know your thoughts. Maybe you don't think the ending is cliche as I did by sacrificing Chloe. I don't know. I guess feel that that's just something that so many movies resort to, that in books and, you know, comics that have that when you're dealing with time. You know, you can't mess with fate and stuff. I was really hoping that this one was going to do something different. And you know, the powers, the way she learned the powers throughout the game and stuff, it was like, you know, she was obviously damaging herself by doing this, and kind of like in Lost as well when they were doing time jumps, she started to get the bloody nose and everything. And so I like that, you know, definitely some of the cliches were good. It was like, you know, yes, this is another time-bending story. But I don't know, the way the game put such importance on all the other stuff, I felt like it was... And, another thing, too, is the last chapter of the game, the chapter 5, they really were shoving in your face, like, oh, you're gonna keep her alive for this, you know, like guilt tripping in yourself. There's even a version of yourself in the diner at the end, and you talk to yourself, and she's talking to you like, you're gonna sacrifice everybody for your friend, and it's like almost like they were teasing me into like, or bullying me into, yeah, you're gonna pick that ending, aren't you? Or you're not gonna do that, are you? And so that's why I almost like, it made me go like, yeah, I'm not gonna let her die. I'm gonna fight this destiny. And so it's just like, nope, it was basically just telegraphing 99% of how the ending was going to be in those later conversations. It was basically telling you have to do it. I didn't read it that way. I guess I should have. That's because I thought that's not what it was trying to accomplish with those scenes. But oh well. Like I said, even with all the... I mean, I wanted to get this off my chest now while it's fresh in my head. But even so, it didn't sour the overall experience of the game. It was such a fun game overall. But I'd like to discuss with anybody else who's played through it, or if you, you know, haven't... Or you listen to this and you're like, wow, I know a lot what's going on, but, you know, I want to experience that for myself. Please play through it and then let me know what you thought. Because maybe going in with some of the thoughts I said and the spoilers I said, maybe you'll see those scenes differently and go, well, here's why I think it does work this way. But I think most people would agree that the ending that I did pick, at least from a structural point of view, feels incomplete and in like super short. It's like a minute and a half long, whereas the other ending is like 7 minutes of like closure and weighty feelings and imagery and symbolism of like, oh yes, there's the butterfly from the beginning of the game where I first intervened with Chloe, and there was nothing excuse me, nothing like that in the ending I chose. There was no, oh my gosh, there is Chloe's mom dead because of my decision, or oh, there's the. It was just like, yeah, here's rubble and a couple dead bodies of nameless characters, so you don't feel guilty at all by it or anything. I just felt kind of like bland. Like it's just really, it was a barren ending. There was no emotional weight to it, and even some games that handle most of the storytelling worse than this game nailed things like with their endings better than this. But it wasn't as bad as like I didn't like Mass Effect 3's ending at all, but still love that series too. Another one that didn't get soured by the ending, but I don't think it's as bad as that. It just feels like it went, it ended on nothing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I wanted to get those thoughts out, and luckily I had my work computer here because I was working on some stuff in the hotel room and everything, and so I was like, hey, I have a webcam on here. I can actually get these thoughts out of my head. And I'm really sorry that my glasses... I'm warning you, or I'm not warning you, but I'm letting you know the truth here. The reason there is a reflection in these glasses is because I'm cheap. When I got these lenses, they asked, do you want to pay the extra $50 or whatever to have no reflection lenses? And I was like, I'm cheap. So you guys have to see reflection in my glasses because I'm cheap. So, but anyway, that's Life is Strange, and I loved it. I'm so glad to have that in my collection, and I'm so thankful for Megan for getting it for me. So with that said, I'm going to say in the next 2 weeks or so, you're going to finally see some regular content again from Megan and I. But so sorry for having it put off for so long. So thank you for sticking through this, and hope you enjoy the game and enjoy talking about it with me as well. So look forward to talking to you guys later. See ya.